Hey guys, it's Tamra, the Judeo-Christian medium. It's been a couple of days since the passing of Charlie Kirk. I wasn't planning on making a video because I am away. I'm in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, and I've been away for a while. I want to show you this picture in the background of my room. It's a person on a mountain. It's just perfect for this read, what I'm experiencing in the White Mountains. And it also looks like the cross. So I thought I would film in front of this. I was going to film in the mountains or like by a waterfall, which is lovely, but I have notes. Charlie's been talking to me since his passing. A little while after his passing, Archangel Michael started talking to me, and then Charlie. And he was able to do that because spiritually, Charlie Kirk is the son of Archangel Michael. That is his soul. That's who he is. Even though he was Charlie Kirk in this lifetime, in this incarnation, that's how he came through. And he was a messenger of God, a messenger of Jesus. So he spoke to God, from God, but through Jesus. He always knew to connect through Jesus. So he would like you to remind you of that. And I've talked about that before too, guys. If you would like to protect yourself from the dark, we call it dark reptilian energy. People call it all kinds of things, Satan, the devil, all kinds of names, but that's what me and my spiritual team call the dark energy. Who that energy is what took out Charlie Kirk. It took him out through feeding off of lies that were told about Charlie Kirk. Feeding off of it's hard to explain. It's not just one thing, but unfortunately, it's a whole group that are feeding off of dark reptilian energy. Many are dark reptilian. I did a reading on Charlie Kirk a while back. I want to say about like 6 months ago. So you guys can check my community page on YouTube and scroll down and check that out. Or you can check out on Instagram under my name, Tamra, the Judeo-Christian medium. I did an Akashic read on Charlie Kirk, a galactic read, psychic read, biography. And so during that read, I was told who he was, his soul. He's Arcturian, Pleiadian, and tall white. He is in my spiritual team, which many of you are familiar with. But if you're not, I'm also going to say a prayer introducing my spiritual team. There's a lot to uncover here. Trying hard to go back to what took him out. Obviously, we know who took him out, and you can look that up. I don't want to name his name, but he was a very troubled young man, very easily influenced, in a lot of pain, and just had problems with his parents, problems with society, problems with his identity. He was trying to figure all of that out, and he was very angry. Who he is really angry at, which is oftentimes true, was his family. But in many cases, having the problems with your family and not dealing with those problems, coming from, there were lots of things that happened between him and his parents, where he felt slighted, invisible, and his parents didn't understand him, which is common, but there was a coldness. There was a coldness between him and his parents, and the coldness just grew. He's also reptilian, and was starting to go very dark. The sort of, they're showing me like a callus, the blockage in him of love between him and his parents. And that this is not saying his parents didn't ever show him love, but the coldness closed him off. And what ended up happening was that opened him up, that made him vulnerable to the dark reptilian energy. And so throughout time, that happened. So that happened to him. He was open to all kinds of influences. He was and is stuck in victim mentality. This was definitely a cry for help. So just like Charlie Kirk was called to speak for Jesus as his life mission, this young man was called by the dark reptilian energy and was pursued by the dark reptilian energy to carry this out. And all of the elements were in place for him to carry this out. the coldness, the lack of love in his life, his overly focus on the physical, his self-hatred, substance abuse, anger, resentment, that all of those things. And Charlie's really saying victim mentality, that opens you up to negative influences. So how did the dark reptilian energy, many of you watching, if you're new to my channel, you might not ascribe to that. That's how the dark energy that sits in the fourth dimension, that feeds off humanity, that's how it was described to me. So, but especially since Charlie's passing, people went from believing, murmuring, talking about spiritual warfare, and now this Charlie saying turning point, like his what he had created, this turning point is a revival. This turning point is a revival, and many people are just going to openly talk about spiritual warfare. You're going to see all kinds of people coming forward talking about their views on spiritual warfare, their battles with spiritual warfare. People are going to come forward, and the truth. This is Charlie Kirk has quoted many things, but he is telling me part of his major mission was just telling the truth, no matter what happened to him. So also, he's telling me right now that before he came here, he was shown who he was going to be, like all of us, and what his mission was. And he was shown what his highest potential was, and what not all, but some of the negative scenarios that could happen to him. And this was one of the negative scenarios that could happen to him. So on a soul level, he was prepared. But let's be very clear, guys. God, Jesus, his spiritual team, his higher self did not want this to happen so that he would be a martyr. Him being a martyr is the best outcome of this happening. This was prophesized to him as might happen. But also his highest potential and life mission was to be president. So when I read for him, that's what I read. I did not read that he was going to be taken out. It was not prophesized to me. But in my reading for the year 2025, it was prophesied to me. I was given the message that we are in spiritual warfare, and the people who are speaking out the most, are in danger, but I don't want to just say that it's only them who is in danger. Anyone speaking out right now, anyone working for the light, anyone working for Jesus is in danger. And what's going on right now, since Charlie Kirk passed, was already going on with many of us, and maybe we didn't speak openly about it, but I will just tell you that many of us we've asked, we've wanted to align with our highest goal, our missions, and we've asked, how do we do that? And we've been told, tell the truth. And many of us have been told, myself included, that that's going to put us in danger. And some of us have gone right out into the battlefield at times, and then some of us have pulled back. When I first started, well, I've been on my mission my whole life, but when I first really said that I was going to work, I said I want to work for Jesus. I want to be a messenger for Jesus. I want to be a messenger for God. I want to align with my highest potential, my mission, what I came here to do. I was told that I was going to be in danger, but I was also given guidance on when to be out, where to be, and when to be home. Jesus actually put me on Shabbat, my own special Shabbat. Originally, Shabbat was to protect the Jewish people. It originally was Friday at sundown until Sunday sunrise. It's been shortened, but I was put on that Shabbat, and I was put on Shabbat a while back, a daily Shabbat of going out between certain hours, usually like around, and it's not safe at any time, but usually like around, and I was living in New York City, so usually around 9 to 10 a.m. until Jesus is saying, he's like Cinderella. He's showing me Cinderella's carriage turning into a pumpkin. But 4 o'clock the latest, but generally asking me to be home around 2. And so why am I telling you guys this? This is a message. Things are crazy right now. Things have been crazy. I did give a big message during for many years about just being, trying to avoid crowds, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of how you come across, who you are, and who is basically against you, or against that, against what you stand for. It could be like Charlie Kirk, it was against his messages, which unfortunately he's saying right now, with this kid, Charlie Kirk wanted to actually help the trans community. It's very complicated. He didn't want to help the trans community by how a lot of people are trying to help the trans community, which is they are, trying to tell really young children that they could be in the wrong body, trying to talk to them about their S preferences, which is just inappropriate. And Charlie Kirk is a protector of children, so he did talk about that. He was just concerned that it's also a trend, and that in order to protect some trans people, people who feel that they've been born into the wrong body, that the movement went too far, got too carried away, and was actually working against humanity and working against people who feel like they are, who genuinely feel like they are in the wrong body. So that's a very complicated issue. And people have asked me about this, and I've been wanting to make a whole video on this, and I will in the future. All I can say is that people are born with a small percentage of people are born with being homosexual, and a small percentage are bisexual. I didn't know it was going to get this deep, but Charlie's talking to me. He's saying it's very complicated, and and he feels for the people who are legitimately homosexual and bisexual. But he's saying for that group, unfortunately, in the past, they felt unaccepted. Okay, Jesus is stepping in to take this over. So Jesus is saying it is part of some people's life path. Not really part of a mission, because a mission is, something that you do. I mean, you could have a mission to be an advocate for homosexuality and bisexuality. But, part of just your life path or your mission, part of just who you are, who you are in your lifetime, to be homosexual or bisexual. Yes. And Jesus is saying, so one of the big issues that happened is marriage, gay marriage. So Jesus is not fully against gay marriage. And hear me out. The reason being is, marriage was created originally for a man and woman to make a covenant with God to, all of the covenants of marriage, to stay faithful and loyal in sickness and in health. And that's the religious aspect. But Jesus understands that there's a legal aspect, and that has to do with our money. So now marriage and the law are intertwined. So now it is favorable and more stable to legally be married. So in that aspect, guys, Jesus is not against gay marriage. And Charlie Kirk, in his messages, was trying to help the youth. And that's something we all need to understand, is that people are trying. When someone is trying in this positive way, unfortunately, what happens is it is completely blown out of proportion if their message isn't like coming across perfect. Even when Jesus was here and his messages, it's very hard to give a message without, a simple message without it being misinterpreted. And so what the dark reptilian energy did was the dark negative spiritual warfare twisted Charlie Kirk's words and turned, many against him. So he became a target. And this young man, it's not just him, guys. He's part of an organization. It's part of the shirt he wore. He was, John Hinckley Jr. is coming in saying, this young man, he was targeted to carry this out. They're showing me this group that's always recruiting people, just looking for the right person to carry out their plans. And they're not showing me exactly, they're showing me like just this faces, just this group of people. They're, this group, the ringleaders, they knew that Charlie Kirk was gaining popularity, and that, because of Trump, who's also a target, and JD Vance, they could see the writing on the wall. They knew that just got a message from one of my favorite people, sorry. A family member who's texting me. So there's a whole group, part of the Antifa crowd, that have a very specific agenda. They are working for the dark reptilian energy, and I didn't realize exactly how much some of them know this and are proud of this. So in the past few days, I think many of you have not only been shocked by Charlie Kirk being taken out, as I was, and but by the response, by how people have been behaving, by them just coming out and they're grinning and mocking and celebrating. And even prior to this, Jesus has shown me people wearing more and more like snake items and being more and more proud of being dark reptilian, and even learning about what this is, that, you know, David Icke came out and talked about it. And then this idea that Jesus has shown me what happened, how this energy made such a mockery out of this idea that it became so taboo that people weren't even really allowed to talk about this on the internet. And YouTube is one of the few places that will allow content creators to talk about it. If you use the word dark reptilian in a comment, they will not publish it. I've found some of those comments in my YouTube studio. So be very careful, guys. This has his assassination has changed I wouldn't say has changed everything. It's amplified what was there. But it's actually, it was a horrible blow to my spiritual team, to Jesus and the light. But now Charlie Kirk has been martyred. He will most likely be canonized, sainted. But now we're aware of the spiritual warfare that is happening, and now many are taking stands and taking sides. So those are some messages that I'm receiving, and I really got into it. I didn't even introduce Charlie Kirk because he's been with me for a couple of days. Archangel Michael came to me right away. He's always with me. I pray to my spiritual team every day. But Charlie was ready to talk. It's hard for me to exactly remember when. It was a couple days ago. About a day after his passing, he was ready to talk. I wasn't ready to talk. I've been traveling. Like I said, I'm in the White Mountains. Jesus told me to go to the White Mountains for a while. I will be in this area until I'm told to go somewhere else. So I'm trying to settle in. Let me just give you a bit of a biography and more information about Charlie Kirk and more messages. So when Charlie Kirk was here, Charlie Kirk, his soul, the description from Earth is, he has ADHD and he has autism. So that is actually all galactic beings are somewhere on that spectrum. Okay, so Charlie said before we get into, his biography, just to pray. I've already prayed today, but they would like me to pray with you all. So please pray with me. I'm going to pray to my spiritual team. Thank you, God, who sits to my right. Thank you, God. Thank you for life. God connects to Jesus, who sits at my right. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for peace. Jesus connects to Mary Magdalene, who is always with him. Thank you, Mary Magdalene. Thank you for patience. Mary Magdalene connects to Mother Mary. Thank you, who sits at my right-hand shoulder. Thank you, Mother Mary. Thank you for comfort. Mother Mary connects over to Father Joseph on my left-hand shoulder. Thank you, Father Joseph. Thank you for stability. Father Joseph connects to Archangel Michael. So back over to the right in this circle. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Thank you for protection. Charlie Kirk is in the spiritual group of the children of Archangel Michael. So in this circle, Charlie Kirk's soul sits right behind and with Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael spiritually is Charlie Kirk's father, parent, because the archangels are male and female. But that's how they come to me in male energy. Archangel Michael, thank you for protection. Archangel Michael is here with Charlie Kirk right now. That's where they sit. I'm going to move on. They connect over to Archangel Metatron, who sits in my left of this circle. Thank you, Archangel Metatron. Thank you for entertainment. Archangel Michael connects over to Archangel Eric Medhus, thank you, Archangel Eric Medhus. Thank you for communication. Archangel Eric Medhus, when he passed, he is part of Archangel Uriel, but has branched off and has become a communicator, especially for mediums to communicate to their spiritual team, which is often this spiritual team, the spiritual team of mediums. So Archangel Eric Medhus connects over to Archangel Gabriel. Thank you, Archangel Gabriel. Thank you for acceptance. Moving past Archangel Michael, back on my right and up, we have Archangel Sandalphon. Thank you, Archangel Sandalphon. Thank you for intelligence. Archangel Sandalphon connects over to Archangel Azrael. Thank you, Archangel Azrael. Thank you for organization. Archangel Azrael connects over to Archangel Raphael. Thank you, Archangel Raphael. Thank you for healing. Archangel Raphael connects over to Archangel Jophiel. Thank you, Archangel Jophiel. Thank you for magical beauty. Archangel Jophiel connects over to Archangel Uriel, which is me and Eric. Thank you, Archangel Uriel. Thank you for my mission. Archangel Uriel connects over to Archangel Zadkiel. Thank you, Archangel Zadkiel. Thank you for balance. Archangel Zadkiel connects to Archangel Jeremiah. Thank you, Archangel Jeremiah. Thank you for wildness. He's dancing. Archangel Jeremiah connects over to Archangel Raguel. Thank you, Archangel Raguel. They're talking. Thank you for swagger. Archangel Raguel connects to Archangel Chamuel. Thank you, Archangel Chamuel. Thank you for calm. Archangel Chamuel connects over to Archangel Ezekiel. Thank you, Archangel Ezekiel. Thank you for nutrition. Archangel Ezekiel connects over to Haniel. Thank you, Archangel Haniel. Thank you for sleep. Archangel Haniel connects to Archangel Daniel. Thank you, Archangel Daniel. Thank you for humor. And also, Archangel Gabriel sits right in front of me. Thank you, Archangel Gabriel. Thank you for acceptance. So, and Archangel Gabriel connects to Archangel Eric Medhus. So we have this circle that's all connected. It comes through white from God, and it swirls in the color of a rainbow, indigo, swirling to violet with gold and silver, and swirling to light blue and red, yellow, orange, red as we get over on this left side. So these are the colors of the auras of the archangels who sit in the 12th dimension. Their auras and energies swirl down to humanity, and they're always with us. They're always, pray to them, ask them to help you. Ask to be put onto your highest mission. This whole group is the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, and the Tall Whites. Just to give you a little brief history, when God created humanity here on earth, he got together with the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Tall Whites, and the Reptilians to create humanity here on earth. He put the Arcturians, Pleiadians, and Tall Whites in charge because they are coming from the 12th dimension, and he asked the Reptilians to work for their ideas to help them. The reptilians are hardier, less vulnerable. So 50% of the population are reptilians, and the rest of the population is a mix. Unfortunately, what happened is some of the reptilians branched off and tried to be in charge, tried to rule the galactics, by numbers, throughout history, have tried to enslave the galactics, have tried to extinct the galactics, and we've seen this throughout history, with going back to the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve being negatively influenced by a dark reptilian in their garden, trying to feed off of Eve's psyche, trying to get her to go against Adam. That's one of the really old battles. It's gone on throughout history. And I'm going to make many videos on the history of many of these epic battles, and just explaining more of what they're telling me. But right now, let's go back to Charlie Kirk, who is sitting with Archangel Michael, and they're breathing a sigh of relief. They're like, okay, we're connected. They wanted me to pray. That helps with connection. That protects my bubble here from the dark reptilian energy. It helps me concentrate. It protects who's watching. Please pray to this team who sits in the 12th dimension and is a connection from God, who has your highest path if you're reptilian, or your highest mission. So reptilians have paths, galactic beings have missions. They are here to help. So if you want to learn more about all of these different groups, so what it means to be Arcturian, Pleiadian, tall white, or reptilian, or dark reptilian, you can check out my videos. I have playlists, and I've marked them out, so you can check that out. But let's get back to Mr. Charlie Kirk. He's in his blue suit. He looks dapper, and he goes from smiling to very serious, back to smiling. And I didn't properly introduce him. We just got right into it because of my and his ADHD brain, which moves very rapidly, and it moves faster than we can speak. So Charlie Kirk, when he was here, really had to work on that to get his messages across. So I'm just going to do a little brief biography of Charlie Kirk. He, in his last lifetime here, he was a conservative political activist. He had been on the radio, online, a traveling activist. He went from college to college, speaking the gospel, speaking his messages, his gospel, trying really hard, guys, to help our youth. He's a protector of children, a truth teller, the founder of Turning Point USA, which he helped form with Bill Montgomery. He's written 4 books. He is a proud college dropout, but you know, he's saying, since he's been on the other side, that you know, he does understand the need for college, but a good college degree, but more so the need for learning, for higher learning, but the need for learning by good professors, people who, good professors who have good intentions and good morals, not just intelligence and not just robotic memorization, and not the teaching of propaganda. So current propaganda being the focus on victims, on victim mentality, on making certain groups into victims, which actually is having the opposite effect of making certain groups into entitled, which we can see has had a disastrous result in culture, in our society. Charlie Kirk was and is married to, he's saying spiritually, Erica Franz, who is a podcaster, businesswoman, and who was Miss Arizona. Her soul, her spirit is in the group of the children of Archangel Michael. So she is also Arcturian, Pleiadian, and a tall white. And if you all have been watching my channel, I've said many times that Donald Trump is Archangel Michael. So he is part of the soul, the spirit of Archangel Michael. He branched off as a fractal and became Donald Trump here on earth. And he's been many strong, famous people. And his wife, Melania, they are both Pleiadian, Arcturian, and tall white, and they are both, they are twin flames, as Charlie Kirk was a twin flame of Erica. So Donald Trump and Melania are Archangel Michael. They are twin flames, and spiritually, Charlie Kirk was their child, their son here on earth, and Erica is their daughter. So they all aligned to their highest mission, and they all got to know each other. They were working together, and Donald Trump is feeling this loss as if he has lost his own child. And Jesus is here. If that wasn't obvious, if I didn't say that, my subscribers know that I receive messages from Jesus and try to give them as best as I can. But Jesus is here. Jesus is the one really overseeing this whole read. So if you pray, and whoever you are praying to, it could be a relative, please go through Jesus. He protects us from the dark reptilian energy coming in and giving you negative messages. So Charlie Kirk was a messenger of Jesus, a messenger of the gospel. He is with Jesus now. Jesus is here, and Charlie Kirk is with Archangel Michael. They are all just glowing in indigo. Jesus asked me to wear this indigo shirt. I am part of their group of, we are Pleiadians, Arcturians, and tall whites, this whole group. But most often we just resonate very highly Pleiadian. We are protectors. We are messengers. But back to Donald Trump, he is hurting right now as if he lost a child. And Donald Trump is having some circulatory issues and some heart issues. And please pray for him, because Jesus says this is putting a strain on his heart. What strains? Donald Trump is very strong, and he is hopefully going to come out of this stronger, but there is a potential for this to make him ill, and in his heart area. Losing people he's close to is a struggle for him, and I've said this before, being henpecked by women, because he's a protector. So he struggles with this duality of trying to protect women, but when they henpeck him, it grates on him because he's doing everything in his power to protect, as Charlie did. Charlie was actually less emotionally affected by women henpecking him. He more saw them as children. But Donald Trump he's very protective of the feminine energy. And I know that some people watching wouldn't know that because how he's been portrayed, but he is, and he really struggles with like interviews with women like Kristen Welker, like henpeckers, who rapidly fire just negative criticism at him. So they henpeck him. So anyway, please pray for Donald Trump. It's as if he's lost a child. So back to Charlie Kirk and his soul. He has partly fulfilled his mission. What he was doing was fulfilling his mission. Marrying Erica fulfilled his mission, having children. Just to let you all know, he is the reincarnation in his last lifetime. I mean, he's been many people, but he was Dr. Tom Philpott, and you can look him up. When he was Dr. Tom Philpott, he was a pioneer and champion for protecting children from trafficking. He wrote and produced the documentary and the book Boys for Sale. It's a book and a TV movie. You can find it for free here on YouTube. It was made in 1977. So he wrote that book, which was turned into a documentary, and then he was taken out by the dark reptilian energy, by people who didn't want to be exposed, and it was made to look like he unalived himself. So you all can look that up. So when Charlie Kirk came back in this lifetime, he came back to finish that mission. And he did that by lecturing at colleges against what is the same energy, but is affecting our children in a more subtle way. But he also spoke out on podcasts. He spoke out against prostitution, against anything negative that people did, anything dark reptilian, being an OnlyFan, promiscuity, sex before marriage, trying not to say too many words that will shadow ban this video. But all of that negative stuff. And you all please go through Charlie Kirk's videos, so to know that he didn't work in vain, that you all can see his work, and he really wishes that people who just watch blips on TV, especially mainstream media, unfortunately, many people are very busy and they just watch blips, and it just portrays him and others who are working for the cause, portrays them in a negative light, just cherry picks things that they say and uses it out of context, or doesn't show the whole picture, and that is lying. And lying is wrong. It is a dark reptilian energy. Many people who are in charge of that to make money, to go against the light in spiritual warfare, and also make money and have power and control over people, are very well aware of what they're doing and are very well aware of the messages that they're sending out. And a lot of this is being uncovered and will be uncovered more. And I will be right along with everyone. Jesus is trying to put me in a place where I can make more videos. Be patient. Mary Magdalene saying, please be patient, guys. I do have a lot of information to give you all, and there's other psychics, mediums, religious figures, philosophers, online personalities who are getting not all of the same messages, because we're individuals, but many of the same messages that I'm receiving. And let's all support each other and understand that there are many who receive the same messages I do. So, and I'm back. Sorry guys, I had to take just a little break there. So, moving on, just more messages from Charlie Kirk. He's talking to me a little bit. He's showing me a donkey. Anyway, he's just being silly. Like he's riding a donkey. He said, you guys will know what that means. Anyway, so moving on, he wants to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. So he would like to tell you to, when it comes to child and traffic cones, we'll say that because I'm saying those words together, which could flag. Let's go back to the picture back there. So this is a very complicated, delicate subject too. So everybody's on this Jeffrey Epstein bandwagon. Everyone wants the list. It's become very important. Many people think that list, the fly list, people who went to Jeffrey Epstein's island, that it's going to be all neatly lined up and we're going to know who the bad guys are and who the good guys are. And guys, this is just not the case. Charlie Kirk explained this to me. Jesus has talked to me about this too. And they really want to explain that many, many people of that era, many associates went to that island, but not all of those people are pedophiles or traffickers. There are some, and they want to be very clear. Charlie Kirk and Jesus are coming forward, and they want to let you all know that Jeffrey Epstein had a very particular way of expressing his needs. He was very systematic. He recruited women of a particular age, but young women, some, but not all, were underage, but anywhere from teen to like 25 was his brand, what he liked. And because this goes along with dark reptilian thinking. He was a dark reptilian. I will never channel him. I don't channel reptilians or dark reptilians. I channel galactic beings, at least for now. We'll see in the future if that changes. But Jeffrey Epstein was a dark reptilian, and he had a certain brand, and he had a certain lifestyle. He liked these young women. He liked, he was very shallow and very, like OCD about what he liked. And, he was always looking for people who were like-minded as buddies, but he knew not everyone liked what he liked. He tried to connect with people on that level, just like there are lots of covens. He was trying to create a coven. There are lots of covens who all like the same stuff. And, you know, you can watch videos on that. You know, they like to do the same rituals, just like a lot of us mediums have discovered each other and we get similar messages. There are groups like that. So he was trying to form friendships, but he also was trying to form business associates, and he would try to figure out, you know, what people liked. But he was also very selfish and more so into his own fulfillments, and he was very rigid. Now, Jesus and Charlie Kirk are explaining to me that when just starting off in life with your S needs being shallow, being superficial, being rigid, not having depth, not having emotion, just it's all the same energy. It just manifests itself differently. So he had a friend, well, an enabler, like Ghislaine Maxwell was his enabler. So he tried to, you know, like throw her a bone. He was head dark reptilian, head narcissist, and she was enabler narcissist. And, you know, it was like think of it as like a business relationship that, you know, they had planned to, you know, have a child together and have that whole sort of beard thing going on. And, you know, she had made peace with it because the way that she saw it was that that's just how men are, and that she was chosen as the lead woman of the group. Her being shallow made her feel like she was actually like the prettiest and the most powerful, classiest, all of that stuff, that snobby stuff. So anyway, Jeffrey Epstein was just very particular, and he also did make assumptions because he is a shallow person. He made assumptions that others would like what he liked. He oftentimes found out that they didn't, but it was also part of that time period. A lot of what went on you can see in movies, you can see in mobster movies with all these girls in the background. But anyway, a lot of people who visited his island were his associates, were there for multiple reasons, to make connections with others, not just with Jeffrey, to be associates, to be business associates. Yes, to, if there were they thought there were just like some easy girls around, like girls who offered them massages, and girls, they thought they were girls who like to party, just like party girls. There are party girls now. There are boat party girls. There are many people getting away with this. The only reason Jeffrey Epstein stood out and got caught is because he liked a particular type of girl that ended up talking. He picked American women. He picked women who studied massage. He unfortunately for him, just picked women who would talk, who would have a voice. Where many others, they pick people who don't have a voice. Either they're too young, or they don't speak the language, or they have no education. But he just, took advantage of people who had a voice. That's the only difference between him and many others. But many people could have ended up in either camp of Jeffrey's, depending on their background, what they did for a living, how old they were. So back in that time, it was very popular to party and travel, and many people got caught up in the wrong groups. Many young American women in the late 80s, 90s, 2000s, ended up partying in the wrong places and boats of men from other cultures who would enslave them. That was a thing. People like Jeffrey, or just, ended up just being passed around, which is what this group thought was happening. And many people went to his parties who just weren't interested, who were either dating someone or, liked to find someone more compatible, more of quality. And there was a group, and so an energy and a disposition. There was alcohol, there were substances. So it would seem sometimes that a lot of these women were the initiators, because some of the men that went there that were single, that did like, having flings, which most single men of that time that were partying liked having flings if they weren't in a relationship, or like heavily pursuing someone of interest with someone else on their mind or something like that. That's human nature. So this is not excusing anything at all, but some of them, yes, some of them did end up with these women, but it wasn't like the way that it's been portrayed, as like they knew all about Jeffrey, all of what he was doing, and that he was, because he was luring them to his island too. He he wanted to be the papachulo, the head of partying. He wanted to be popular. He wasn't the popular kid growing up. That made him feel important. But back to just who he was, it was, if you look him up, do some research. Jesus and Charlie are reminding me, he was just like, they're showing me like a robot. Like he would get a certain woman with a certain look and get massaged in a certain way, very robotic, and would do his thing in a certain way and then treat these women a certain way. And he thought he did have this formula, and he thought he had this formula of how he would deal with them and how he would deal with Ghislaine, and that that it was okay. Like he knew it was creepy. He knew he wasn't the norm, but there was a pride in that creepiness, that a getting over on people, a getting away with it. So many of you all have studied narcissism, which is, dark reptilian energy, and a big part of it is just getting away with stuff. But anyway, Charlie and Jesus are asking you to not, please don't focus too much on him and his list. It's not going to be this uncovering of all the bad guys, because there was good, bad, ugly, everything in between that went to that island for different reasons. And Jesus is showing me, when I was at that age, I partied, which, me being ADHD and autistic, partied for different reasons than some of these people partied for. Like, I liked music and fun and entertainment and techno and everything that was going on at that time, amongst every other thing. I like traveling and fashion and champagne, and but I also liked exercise and health spas and all of that. So it was a different time, a little more glamorous than it is now. And Jesus is showing me, depending on many, like I could have been in that group. I've lived in Boston, I've lived in Manhattan. I could have met Jeffrey, I could have befriended Ghislaine. Ghislaine acted like she was just, another woman out. I could have been ensnared. I could have also, they showed me circumstances where I could have married someone who was an associate of Jeffrey and gone there with the guise of just partying, of making connections, of just having fun, of just being the wife of someone who was getting to know Jeffrey. Unfortunately, that might be something that many of you don't want to hear. Donald Trump knows this. Donald Trump knows that he's been accused. He's been associated with Jeffrey. He's been accused of many, many things. He was accused by that woman of who pursued him, who brought him back to the dressing room. That woman who accused him of being the perpetrator in that, she flirted with him as she was exiting the department store. He was coming in. They're showing me, I can't remember. Yeah. they're saying it doesn't matter. You all know the story. You can look it up. I've talked about it before. But anyway, Donald Trump understands what it means to be accused. And Jesus would like you all to remember that one of the easiest ways for the dark reptilian energy to get to galactic men is through like an attractive reptilian dark reptilian, like a Jezebel energy, the Jezebel spirit. Many of you are familiar with that. Many women have that spirit, and they manipulate galactic men, men with a mission, men with a purpose, and, you know, get impregnated. This is not to say that there isn't abuse amongst women. This is just explaining this particular, and things are so hard to explain right now because of the whataboutism. Like, I'm trying to explain this and Jesus is telling me, people will be like, well, are you trying to say like women are always like innocent? I mean, galactic men are always innocent. No, like, but this is just a way. Donald Trump, they tried to take him down through in this manner by dark reptilian women with the Jezebel spirit. You know, they're showing me snaking around him, getting him to be with him, and then saying that they were the victims. And Charlie Kirk is going back to this victim mentality. They were not able to do that to Charlie Kirk because he just was never, that wasn't a weakness of his. That wasn't, they got to him, just, they couldn't get to him. So they got to him physically. But I have other notes here that they gave me. Unfortunately, when Charlie when he was Tom Philpott, he died at 49, and he was not able to fulfill his mission of getting married and having children. It was just all too much. But he did fulfill his mission of at least making the documentary Boys for Sale. And if you'd like to honor Charlie, please watch that documentary. Please spread the word about Tom Philpott. I'm going to spread the word. Not suddenly, but a lot of people are kind of listening to my messages and other mediums' messages more now, and thinking like, once they're getting their minds, like they're deciding that there is spiritual warfare, they're also now open to these ideas, and you're going to see a lot of people more open to the ideas of reincarnation and Jesus and who Jesus was and the prophets, and people are making these connections, and we're helping people make these connections. And please, by all means, you guys help people make these connections. I know it's hard to talk about this stuff, especially if you just like are a regular person. You don't want to be the crazy one. I get it. Yes, and so Tom Philpott's days were numbered. He criticized when Charlie was Tom, criticized. Oh yes, he criticized professors at college, which Charlie Kirk came back to do too. So Tom Philpott was a professor. And criticized his higher ups. You can look up his biography. Yes, it's all coming together. So Charlie just came in and right where he left off, going around criticizing professors, held on to that as a soul, learned a lot on the other side, and came back stronger. He came back and started his work younger and was stronger and held on to his morals, got married, had children, so fulfilled more of his mission and will fulfill more of his mission when he comes back again. So other messages that they've been giving me over the days, so this isn't a message he's giving me right now, but I wrote this down. So they gave me a message that I was part of the Abenaki tribe, and that's up here in the White Mountains. And you can check out my, I've made 2 videos so far about my metaphysical experiences. So I had a metaphysical experience where I fell asleep when I was younger. I had a dream. I was playing with my brother. We were playing with toys. I just passed out. And I had this dream that I was an American Indian and I was riding away from my tribe. I was on the back of a horse, and my partner, and it's very, they're bringing this up on purpose. Yes, they know what they're doing. So my partner was a male. And I had always, I started to question, like, I knew this was a romantic partner. I had my arms around him. We were running away from the tribe and on horseback, desperately trying to escape. But I knew this was my partner, but then I was like, wait a minute, it was a man. But the reason we were running away is I was married. I was a leader in the Abenaki tribe up here in New Hampshire. I was a religious figure and an orator, and I was married to a dark reptilian woman. And while I was married to her, I was miserable. I was bisexual, and my partner, my twin flame, was a man, and we ended up connecting and being together. And someone in the tribe found out, squealed on us, and then we were chased out of the tribe, and we were on horseback, and we were I was shot in the back with an arrow. And so when I was in this dream, I remember being shot in the back. And originally I thought it was a gunshot, and I thought we were like cowboys and Indians. No, I was shot in the back with an arrow. This is a past life dream. I was shot in the back with an arrow. This really happened. And I can remember leaving my body, feeling that happiness, joy, and peace, and loving everyone, loving the person who shot me in the back, loving my partner, being so worried, trying to touch my partner who passed after me, but being like so worried about him, and seeing the pain on his face when he turned around to look at me. Now in the dream, I didn't remember like exactly what his face looked like. It was more like just energetically. But now they're showing me, and it's my twin flame. So anyway, Charlie Kirk brings this up to realize, like, when he passed, to understand that yes, people are born with in their soul being bisexual, and for galactic beings, oftentimes it's their twin flame is of the same sex. So that is predetermined. And also just being gay is predetermined. But it is a smaller percentage than what we're seeing in Western culture in the year 2025. And that's the issue. That is a very tough lifestyle. Jesus is saying again now, and Charlie Kirk is confirming that it is not a sin if you were born that way, but they would like you to practice not like a spiritual practice with your partner, meaning get to know them, not have the relationship be shallow, superficial about looks, not be promiscuous, get to know each other mentally, physically, mentally, spiritually, intellectually, then physically, plan for marriage, plan for a partnership, don't cheat, don't be shallow. So follow all of the same rules. What's happening is that this has been an excuse for many people who aren't even that way, to be that way, to get attention, to either self-mutilate or mutilate someone else or get people off track. Remember, guys, that the dark reptilian energy is, their goals are to enslave, to get people out of their, off of their path, off of their highest path, off of their mission. If anyone who has ever had like a narcissistic family member will understand that they will go out of their way to block you. I hope this is all coming together and making sense as to why this was so important to Charlie Kirk. He said he didn't always express himself. It was a little bit rigid, but in that aspect, and that's why he brought up my past life, because I'm galactic and I had a higher mission in that tribe as an orator, as an intellectual, as someone who could connect to white people, who could bridge that gap. As Archangel Uriel, I'm a bridge. My mission is to help others find their mission. It was the same for me in that lifetime. My mission was cut short because of my marriage to a dark reptilian, and then the way I chose to deal with it by having an affair with my twin flame. And I'm not advocating for having an affair, but that was how I chose to deal with it at that time. When we have a life review, when I had my life review after that lifetime, I was shown ways that I could have avoided that situation. And many of you know that I've had a near-death experience, a couple in this lifetime. And the last one, I did a life review and was shown ways that I could have made better decisions. And Charlie Kirk is saying, he was shown ways he could have made better decisions in how he discussed. He was trying to prevent children from he could see the energy, the dark reptilian energy, the Jezebel energy attacking children and trying to get them to be something that they're not. So what started out as getting children to be more accepting of other children that were different turned into there being a favoritism and a push towards that. And Charlie Kirk is saying there's still too many Jezebels and dark reptilian, the Jezebel spirit going through male and female teachers in the school system in Western culture. So let me just go through my notes. And then talk to Charlie more, see if there's anything else he wants to tell you. Yes, please pray for Donald Trump, because his heart is taking a beating, and that is part of the dark reptilian purpose, is to physically make Donald Trump sick. You know, they want to take him out. Everyone who is, now the camps are divided. And so everyone who has publicly shown themselves to be like on Charlie Kirk's team, Jesus, Christianity, is a target, you know, but especially in American politics, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, all of those people. So let me just see. I love Charlie Kirk. He's saying like, good job. I feel like as I was ranting, I got a little Trump-like. So in this whole group here, so Donald Trump is Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael spiritually is my brother. As Archangel Uriel, he is spiritually my brother. So Charlie Kirk is spiritually my nephew. And just to let you all know, like, we come here in lifetimes. Some of us come in to, we have these lifetimes where we try to change a family lineage that we were part of, and we come in with oftentimes at least one or more dark reptilian parents or relatives, and we can get really bogged down with that, or we could transcend that and fulfill our mission. Sometimes our mission is, part of it is just to get through that and do the best we can. But we also have missions where, like Baron Trump, he is actually the child of Archangel Michael's, and he came in physically as the child of Archangel Michael. And then Charlie Kirk got to meet his spiritual father, Archangel Michael. So there are situations like that too. And, you know, when I had my near-death experience, they showed me situations that I was in that were supposed to lead me to actually meet my soul family. And there are people in my extended family that are part of my soul family. So I can talk about that another time, but Charlie is saying in the future, in our next incarnations, we will meet again. He's saying there will be times where I will actually physically be his aunt or uncle. This is my first time being a woman, so you know, that didn't happen in this lifetime, but there's future possibilities of that. And then just us meeting, like, with that spirituality of our souls still having that, but meeting, not knowing that, you know, with the veil, but being like friends or associates. So he's saying like, we will meet again, with the top hat. So Charlie is wrapping it up. He's still in his blue suit and his brown shoes. He is sending love and prayers to his wife, who's going to be doing a lot. Understand, she is a child of Archangel Michael. She is strong, and she was more in the background as his wife and mother of his children, but she will be coming forward. She will still maintain that feminine role as mother of his children, but she will be also helping to his mission, taking it on as her mission. And many people are going to be helping with his mission. But he has a message for Ben Shapiro, because Ben would like to go around to colleges, and this also applies to anyone else. He wants you to learn all of our laws, the laws of other countries, if you're going to be talking about them or to them. Learn the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran. So if you are trying to make talking points, you will know those talking points. And I'm not very well versed in all of that. It's interesting that my messages come through Jesus, and then I'm shown, and I kind of like laugh, because I'm like, Jesus, you told me this. And he's like, yes, and it's also in scripture. And I'm like, so sometimes, like, looking back at my videos, I'm like, oh, Jesus told me this, and I feel dumb. I feel like people are like, yeah, duh, that's in the Bible. And to be honest with you guys, like, I am not well versed in the Bible. Like, Jesus tells me stuff, especially a lot of stuff about the prophets, and then I find out by like other people quoting the Bible, or sometimes looking things up, and even from like watching The Chosen. And so I'll be watching The Chosen, and I'm like, Jesus, you told me this. He's like, yes, because that happened and it's true. So anyway, so that's the message from Charlie Kirk to people who would like to take his place. He would like to thank everybody. He's very grateful for how everyone is responding. And he says, even like, just to you who are watching, my subscribers, he's saying, this has set you over the edge. Many of you are truth tellers, and many of you have talents and something to say. And he said, many of you are going to be like, no BS from this point on. You're going to be doing your talents. You feel energized. You feel that if basically taking a side and taking a stance, and seeing that Charlie put his life on the line. And I just recently heard, I think it's James O'Keefe. Charlie is reminding me of this. He said, and Charlie's been talking to him. He said, when it comes to truth, spiritually, think of it as putting your life on the line. Be prepared. But also, Jesus is coming in and saying, not everyone has to go out guns a-blazing. Let's look at the other side. Let's look at how Jesus has protected me, how he protected me by giving me, telling me about Shabbat, the history of Shabbat, my own personal, putting me on my own personal Shabbat. So there is a balance there, guys. You need to find that balance within yourself, to protect yourself, to be savvy, to be diplomatic, to be a ninja, but also, in some circumstances, to be brave. And depending on who you are, depending on what it is that you're doing, but just think of it in a spiritual, philosophical way of, sometimes it does come to putting your life on the line, but this definitely is not going to be for everyone. And Jesus says there's many, many ways to make your point across, and your point doesn't need to be made across like 24/7. So there are lots of caveats to this whole way of thinking. But anyway, the taking out of Charlie Kirk was done by the dark reptilian energy, by a dark force. It was not fated, planned by God and Jesus for this to happen to him. It was shown that it could happen to him. He wished that he had taken more precautions, that he had listened more. He was just very busy. He was a bit on edge. He chose to put that into his work and to have it energize him. And his mission was to become president, and his wife to be first lady. And, she was getting practice with that by being Miss Arizona. And, that was the fate of his children. Things have changed. They are recalibrating. But there is an upside, because God and Jesus and the light, this whole spiritual team, they always find ways to create good circumstances out of bad circumstances. And we've seen that with Jesus. I've seen that in my own life. They would like you to go back and check out your life to see where and when that has happened. And Charlie and Jesus are asking me to wrap it up. They both have white wings with gold on them now, and they are starting to fly away backwards, saying goodnight, asking me to tell you all good night, to tell you to pray to them. And Archangel Eric Medhus, especially if you would like to talk to a deceased loved one, or you would like to get messages, always also through Jesus. But Charlie is now there. Please be specific. Pray to Charlie Kirk if you would like answers, messages from him. And they just want to say that they love you. And Charlie Kirk would like to say thank you to everyone for the outpouring of love, to his wife, to his associates, his followers, his listeners, all of the people that he touched, all of the people who are lighting torches for him. They're singing songs for him. Tom McDonald, lots of, I'm going to upload songs that Charlie likes. Anyway, I'm getting tired. That is it for now. Charlie's saying they're really fading away, but he's saying he might come back and talk to me and give me more messages to talk to you. Right now, he's saying truly he loves you all. He's with you all. This is spiritual warfare. He's saying thank you for listening to him. Thank you for listening to Jesus. Thank you for caring. Please continue to pray. Please continue to follow your principles, your morals. Love your loved ones. Tell the truth. Don't enable your loved ones. Don't just because you love them doesn't mean you have to love everything that they do. Don't support the dark reptilian energy. Do not enable narcissists. Do not support narcissists. Pull the plug. Pull the the plug on their supply, on their power, on their energy. Do not support negativity, narcissism. Don't back it up. Don't look the other way. Stand up for yourself, but also do it in a savvy way. Protect yourself. And with that being said, good night, you guys, from the White Mountains of New Hampshire. I will be coming on soon to talk about Iran, Persia, the Persian Empire, the whole background of that. That's been a lot. I've got a lot of messages. I had to come on because this was unexpected. What happened to Charlie? He really wanted to talk. I wanted to honor him. But anyway, I love you guys too. I'm losing my voice. I'll talk to you soon. Good night.